Welcome to Making Connections, a product of Conexión Media Group. Our Making Connections interview show brings in people from throughout the area, throughout the region, throughout the state, and throughout the nation, sometimes outside of the United States. People that are doing some great, interesting things that we want them to tell us all about that so that our audience can hear about them, can hear about those great things that are going on and learn about those activities, organizations, and individuals. Conexión Media Group also is the producer and publisher of the Conexión bilingual Spanish and English monthly publication that we distribute throughout the region from Mobile to Tallahassee and places in between. And we also do some great networking activities throughout the region. One of them is coming up in the upcoming events later on this month in Pensacola. And we recently finished our international festival in Fort Walton Beach, the 5th annual festival, which is another of the things that we do. We do multicultural activities like the festival. And thanks to all the sponsors, the vendors, the supporters, the volunteers, we were able to donate $8,000 to One Hopeful Place Incorporated, which is a homeless shelter, a homeless organization that is mitigating the homelessness issue here in Fort Walton Beach. It's a nonprofit organization, so we made a donation of $8,000 in the name of all the sponsors, the vendors, and the individuals that supported our activity. This morning in our Making Connections show, we have a great guest. Her name is Stephanie Mann, and Stephanie Mann is going to be calling us from Henderson in Nevada. She is a published author. She is a crime and violence prevention consultant, a very interesting person, and she's going to be telling us all about her organization, Safe Kids Now National Network. With me today, as always, is my good friend and our co-host for Making Connections, Kismet Melendez. ¿Cómo estás, Kismet? How are you doing?
Hola, how are you? How you doing, everybody? Welcome for Making Connections Show again. Bienvenidos a todos. Estamos en un nuevo programa de Making Connections Show y aquí Kismet Melendez, tú sabes, desde Mobile, Alabama.
Exactamente. Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos como siempre, Kismet. ¿Y cómo te va allá en Mobile? ¿Cómo van las cosas?
Pues todo muy bien. Continuamos con las clases a nuestra comunidad, de diferentes eventos y comunicándole al mundo, a la comunidad y a la región qué es lo que está pasando aquí.
Excelente, excelente. Muy ocupados allá con tu fundación. Dinos un poquito acerca de la fundación otra vez, por favor.
Sí, pues soy la fundadora y presidenta de Hispanic Community Services y a través de Hispanic Community Services brindamos diferentes servicios educativos y de bienestar para nuestra comunidad, como clases de español para los americanos que nos escuchan, las clases de inglés para los adultos, clases de español para niños, integramos este año de 4 a 6 años.
Wow, excelente, excelente. Vamos a hacer un corto comercial porque we also wanted to let everybody know that this show has paid advertising. So if you want to promote your company or your organization, your events and all of that stuff, we can help you do that. And we'll be right back with our interview with Stephanie Mann.
Do you want to advertise to thousands of Hispanics and non-Hispanics in Northwest Florida, and Southern Alabama?
¿Quieres promover tu empresa y producto a miles de hispanos y no hispanos?
Connection is your most cost-efficient way to do so.
Conexión es tu solución.
We are the largest English and Spanish publication in our region. Our primary mission is to inform, guide, and educate our readers via interesting content.
Somos la publicación mensual en español y en inglés de la más grande distribución en toda la región. Además de las 5,000 copias en papel, tenemos activas las redes sociales, incluyendo Facebook, Twitter e Instagram, y también por Internet.
Conexión is your bridge to connect you to the growing Hispanic market in the region. Call us.
Llámanos.
Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Be there to capture the moment live. Get your tickets today.
Welcome back to Making Connections. This is our interview segment, and I am very excited about our next guest. I'm amazed at all the great stuff that she has done. I went into her website, had a great conversation with a close friend of hers, Cher Graham from Mobile. And I was totally amazed at all this wonderful stuff that she's doing. I was very interested because I received a newsletter from your friend Cher, Stephanie. I'll introduce you here soon. And I saw the newsletter. I immediately said, I need to speak to that lady because what she's doing sounds like it's an outstanding thing. My interviewee today is Stephanie L. Mann. She is joining us from Henderson, Nevada. And Stephanie is a crime and violence prevention consultant. She's also a published author. And she's also the founder of a wonderful organization called the Safe Kids Now National Network. Stephanie, how are you doing? How's everything going in Henderson?
Great. And it's so good to be with you, David. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much for being here. It's really an honor for us to have you. I'd like to start just by you telling us a little bit about you and where are you from and how did you get into crime and violence prevention consultancy?
Well, I'm a transplant from California, Northern California. And it started for me a long time ago. As a matter of fact, we had a crime wave in my community of 17,000 people, and we didn't have a police department. We didn't have a city council. We were an unincorporated area, and we shared a police officer with one other community, so we had 1.5 police officers.
Oh my goodness.
So we had a bit of a dilemma, and we asked ourselves, okay, we've got a crime problem. What are we going to do about it? We got together and 10 of us decided on the Neighborhood Responsibility Program. And we worked together. We educated the community that we had a crime problem. We had the sheriff come out from the county seat 15 miles away to talk to the group and tell them what our problems were. We had a murder, and that brought everybody out. And as a result of that, we had neighborhoods organizing. We had neighbors going out and contacting each other. And within 2.5 years, we reduced our own crime problem 48%.
Wow, amazing. So it was a neighborhood initiative in a sense, somebody, obviously a group got together, they saw the problem and they started developing solutions. Is that basically what took, and then expertise started helping?
That's exactly what happened. And we got a lot of publicity at that time. And as a result of that, we wrote this book, which is on the website. Anybody can read it, and exactly how we did it. So,
okay. And when did this take place? When was this first thing created?
This would have been the early 70s.
Oh, wow.
And I met with Nancy Reagan, who was the governor's wife,
right?
At that time. And she got the finances to make that book happen. And it was funded by the California Youth Association. So
that is wonderful. And so, and I understand this particular program that you started back then also was either the genesis of the Neighborhood Watch program, or the idea was taken and that was created. How did that work?
Well, as a result of the book coming out about how we reduce crime 48% without police, that was sent out, and the California Youth Authority and the police and different organizations around the state, they sent out thousands of these little books to police departments all over the country, which helped launch the Neighborhood Watch program. Now, there's a difference between Neighborhood Watch, which sounds like everybody sits behind closed doors and just peeks out of their neighborhood. We called it the Neighborhood Responsibility Program because we wanted people to know they could take charge of their own neighborhood safety.
Yeah, and then the bottom line is this can be done in any neighborhood, right? It's not just necessary, there's always that I don't know, when people start getting into the politics of things and economic status and all those kind of things, this can be done anywhere.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, we even put out this little book called My First Steps to a Safe Neighborhood. And see, it's just a little book.
I see it,
I'll
yes.
tell you what it says.
Uh-huh.
It tells you how to go to your neighbors, because a lot of people are a little anxious about that.
Right.
So they're thinking, nah, I don't think I want to do that. So we make it really easy. Just get a friend or somebody in the neighborhood that you already know, ask 3 questions, just 3 questions. What is your biggest concern in the neighborhood? Have you been a victim? And will you help? Now, the people that say, I would love to help, then you get them together later and put a plan together. How are we going to make pull this neighborhood together? And we've had amazing things happen.
Sure.
As a result of that, people have all kinds of talents in the neighborhood.
That's right. Plus,
Things
you have talents and occupations and things that are, I have a couple of policemen in our area too, that live in this neighborhood too. So
Exactly.
it's a mixture of all of that you can put together and come up with a solution, hopefully, to lessen the crime rate. More importantly, also to make sure your kids feel safe. I love that quote that you have on your website from I think it was let's see who wrote this website quote that you have there. Let me try and find it, because it was Frederick Douglass, I believe, right? It is safer to build strong children than to repair broken men. First of all, I love Frederick Douglass. Number 2, this is 1855. So again, this what you're doing also in making a safe neighborhood, you're ensuring that these kids are growing in a safe environment, which obviously will promote togetherness within the neighborhoods. Do you think that's lacking in our American neighborhoods now, that knowing of your next door neighbor type of thing? Because I'm at fault of that, to be honest with you. So I'm assuming that many of us fall under that.
Well, this is one of the reasons we have so many disenfranchised kids. It's one of the, because in smaller communities, people know everybody.
Right.
But in our inner cities, people do not know each other. And especially after COVID, because the isolation, our suicide rate with children has gone up tremendously. This is because kids are disconnected. They're on computers with strangers. I did an interview with a man that was an FBI agent, and he said, I won't even let my children on the computer because wherever the children are, the predators are.
I agree.
They learned how to groom children,
Mhm.
and children are unaware. They think this is my best friend telling me
That's right.
how nice I am, how pretty I am. And then they may ask for more explicit information from the child. And once the child sends them a photo, an intimate photo, then they can blackmail them. I mean,
Yeah.
there are terrible things that can go
Those are
on.
major issues going on right now within in the world because of the connectivity that everybody has, and like you said, a child seeing things that they normally would not get to see unless they had that phone in front of them or that computer, because like we always like to say, when in my days, right, but those of us that are older who did not grow up with these immediate connections of cell phones and things like that, I did not get to see a lot of that stuff unless I looked for it, which sometimes teenagers do. But when it's harder to get to those things, then the chances of them accessing are much less, for sure. And kids are not going to continuously have that right there in front of them, which is, yes, a major issue. The pandemic, I'm sure, also caused a lot of those.
David, I would even say that we are going to see more mass shootings and more violence,
yes,
and more kids on drugs and joining gangs if we do not come together as a community. As a matter of fact, every single national network, and I haven't talked to them lately, but they all say, how do we bring these communities together?
Yes.
That's exactly how we bring them together.
Yeah.
And especially in our inner cities, where the fear level is very high, very high. And we need neighborhood safety experts people that look like the community, that know the language of the community,
You
to
bet.
go back into neighborhoods and help bring these neighborhoods together.
You bet it can be done. It can be done. This is
Absolutely.
this is a timeless type of approach that can be followed. It doesn't matter, that this program started in the 1970s. It is timely. It can be done in the present with the right, people getting involved from that small cul-de-sac. I live in a cul-de-sac, so I'm gonna have to start at my level, because we have lost that connectivity of the person to person connectivity. In other words, I don't know some of my neighbors, and I live in a cul-de-sac of 6 houses. Do you know what I mean? And that's really all our fault. So we can start right there with us.
That's
With us,
exactly
and make
right.
that contact and go out and meet that neighbor you haven't met, and then establish that relationship. Another factor, in my case, for example, I have a kid with autism. If they all know, but those kind of things are also, our kids are in danger because of the disability. They can wander and do kind of those things, and it's always great to have a neighbor that at least helps us keep an eye on such things, and we do have that. But overall, the neighborhood is not connected.
Absolutely. Well, let me give you a success story.
Uh-huh.
There was one lady that was very upset, and I worked as a crime and violence prevention consultant in my county.
Mhm.
And she came into our office, and she was very angry with the police department. How come they are not getting rid of the drug dealers in our park? And she lived right across the street from the park, and she was furious because she said, I have little children, I want them to play in the park, and
Right.
the city council has voted to put a fence all the way around the park to keep the drug dealers out. And she said, that's crazy. And I couldn't agree with her more. So we talked her into getting her neighbors involved,
Right.
and they went out, and without being noticed, they took down, like, walking the dog, watering the grass, playing cards, sitting on the park bench, talking to each other, whatever. And they started taking down descriptions,
Uh-huh.
and they put down license numbers, time of day, and had all this information. And we turned it over to the police department, and they made arrests. And with 3.5 months, they had cleaned up that park.
I believe it. You know why? Because just the presence of others there. I'm sure
Yes.
that criminals don't want to be seen. They don't, they don't want to be out in
They
the
don't.
open, kind of thing. But if you leave them the whole thing to do there, the whole park to do whether nobody bothers them, so they're thinking it's theirs until those little things. I'm glad. That's a great example of how
Well,
it's
let
not
me just-
easy, but
this-
it's incremental.
Yeah, just let me say that they were so proud of their accomplishment that they went back to city council, and they said they wanted the money that we're going to use to put up the fence to be used to put in new swing sets for the kids. And their request was granted.
Wow. Amazing. That is wonderful. That's a great story, because it can be done. It can be done.
It can be done,
with commitment.
and give you make people proud of ownership. They own that neighborhood.
There you go.
Take it back. It
That's
is
right.
not anybody else's. It's everybody's neighborhood. And if the criminals, let me just say this, it's a very small percentage of people that are criminals, very small.
Correct.
People think it's everybody. No, it's not. It's a very
it's not.
small group. So just take charge of your neighborhood, and you'll have a safe place for your children to play.
Let's take a short break for some announcements, and then we'll come back with Stephanie Mann and some of the wonderful work she's doing as an author in her upcoming book on safety and safe neighborhoods. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jason Arnold with the Ride On Commuter Services Program, and we're here to help you get started with a bike commute. Ride On is a quick and secure way to find your best commuting options. Using your home and work addresses, you can connect with neighbors and colleagues who bike, carpool, vanpool, or take the bus. Are you an experienced cyclist who knows the best routes through the city? Need help learning the ins and outs of bicycle commuting? Whatever your situation, connecting with fellow cyclists can help get you cycling to work, school, or wherever you're heading. We all know there are many benefits to cycling, like you're unlikely to get stuck in traffic so you won't be late. Cycling is good for your health and well-being, and it's fun. It's cheaper than driving, paying for parking charges, or catching the bus or train. It's fast and efficient, especially during the morning and evening rush hours. It's good for the environment. Pedal power is the cleanest form of energy. And it's a great stress reliever. Getting outdoors and exercising is proven to improve stress levels. The Ride On team can provide personalized one-on-one support services by experienced transportation professionals who can help you learn to ride safely. The Ride On program is simple. It matches you with other cyclists or commuters in your area. You can start sharing rides to work, school, or a local event. Build your profile online at www.rideontogether.org or download the Ride On Together app from your Android or Apple device. Registering for Ride On is free, and you could get Ride On swag for your commute. The best part, commuters who bike to work at least 3 times a week also qualify for the Emergency Ride Home program. This program gives you a voucher for a free ride home in bad weather or other emergencies. Whether you bike for the environment, your health, or to save money, Ride On can help you reach your commuting goals.
Welcome back to Making Connections. We are talking to Stephanie Mann. She is a crime and violence prevention consultant, calling us from, or with us from Henderson in Nevada. Tell me about the different, I know we showed some of them, but tell me about other books that you have written that are related to, obviously, the things that we've spoke about in the first segment, and give us some more information about your author part of the house.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I have written probably, this will be number 5 book on safety. The books on safety have covered the family, children, neighborhoods, and overall community-wide safety. So I've been in this business for a long time, and I've learned a great deal by working with police and citizen groups over the years, because the most amazing people are in our communities, every community. I was a county coordinator for Contra Costa County in California, and the wonderful people are out there. Sure, I don't care what community you're involved in, you're going to find amazing people that are doing wonderful work. The problem is we've become disconnected, and we've become, and I don't know if that's by design or if it's by the fact that we've just gotten scared, but we really need to take back our communities. And so I wrote these books. This one is called Empowerment Parenting, Guidelines for Safer Neighborhoods. And it's how to raise resilient children who can become happy, self-reliant adults. So if parents are looking for some guidance, this is about the power of the human spirit. It's not about safety tips. Yes, there are some in the book, but I want children to understand that they have amazing, magical talents. So,
go ahead.
And as a result of that, Empowerment Parenting was turned into, and I think you can see that.
Yes, I see that in Chinese.
Yes, and this has been used in Taiwan for kids at risk. And these children what do they call them? The people that work with kids at risk are in China. They have a certain name.
Oh, they have a certain title, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember it. But anyway, This was written in Chinese for
So
those
that's
counselors.
so your book was officially translated into Chinese so that the Taiwanese community and children would have a chance to read it and also be taught from it.
That's exactly right. And they sent me some wonderful reviews from Taiwan, and those are on our website, safekidsnow.com. Just scroll down and you'll see the copy of the book, and then you can read some of the comments from Taiwan. And there are also comments about empowerment parenting. Well, it inspired me to write another book just for teenagers.
Oh, okay.
And as a result of that, I wrote a book. It hasn't come out yet, but you can see it on safekidsnow.com. And it's called Magical You, Empowering Teens to
I'm going to
Stay.
show your website at the same time you're continuing to talk about the book. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. It's called Magical You, Empowering Teens to Stay Safe and Healthy in an Unsafe World. There it is.
All right. Yes, we're showing your website in the book.
Yes, and that will be out probably sometime in May. We're doing illustrations now. As I said, this is for teenagers. We are spending $220 million a day on child abuse and neglect.
Oh, wow.
That means a lot of teenagers are not getting the guidance they should get from parents or from guardians and a matter of fact, I have been in some of these homes that keep these foster kids. And I was working with a police officer when we were called to a home, and the man that was in charge called the police department as a result of this young man who was 16 years old had hit him. And so we were there, and this young man was on 6 different drugs. I mean, we're putting kids on drugs to keep them down. And when he got in the police car, we were going to take him to the hospital to get his meds regulated because they thought he was off his meds, you know. So I talked to him, and he was just out of it. And he said, I'm going to have to repeat my sophomore year of school because I can't think straight. They had him on so many drugs. I think this is so
cloudy brain that can't think so well with those things in there.
I mean, I think this is absolutely craziness. So I felt compelled to write Magical You just for these kids, because let me tell you, they have so much potential. They have imagination, they have intuition, they have amazing instincts that can keep them safe. They have creativity, insights, hidden talents, self-protective conscience.
You just got to give them the opportunity to find that thing that they want to do, right? I mean, and obviously, I noticed some of the books, and I haven't read the books, obviously, but I saw some of the descriptions. So overall, the books are both educational and obviously tell stories of, success and things like that, correct? So some of the books can be used by people that are trying to do the right things in their neighborhoods to educate themselves, and then also hopefully find some expertise amongst their group and or outside groups to come in and help them organize. And then now you're also aiming some of them to the teens themselves to learn about how great they could be or they can be. Is that correct? Is that what this magical one is about?
Absolutely. And I tell my own story throughout the book by using and a lot of other stories, because I know kids like stories. It also has illustrations, but I tell my story because I was abandoned in Mexico City.
I saw that quote. I saw that statement. I wasn't sure who it was coming from. I was about to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Tell us about that.
I was abandoned at age 15, and it darn near killed me, but it didn't. And that's why I have such a passion for young people because I was able to figure out how to take charge of my life in spite of my dysfunctional parents. And I've made a success out of my life. And if I
Stephanie,
can do it,
Mexico City. I am a Mexican descent. I've been to Mexico City. Mexico City, whatever time it happened, was huge, just like it is now. How
right?
did you do that? How did you make it there? Or whatever time it was that was there as an abandoned person.
Well, my mother was had a boyfriend. My father was an alcoholic. My mother divorced him when I was 10, and we had a live-in boyfriend that came in when I was about 12 or 13, and he persuaded her to take me down to Mexico City. I should have been a sophomore in high school. But they enrolled me in Mexico City College, and then they took off. They rented a room for me, and then they took off and didn't come back. So I had to figure out how to survive it. I did, and I tell stories throughout the book about how I did this. So
amazing. I was reading that just as I was at your website, and I said I gotta ask her about that because I said a story about somebody that got abandoned. I didn't know it was you.
it was me. Yes.
Wow.
But-
And then so you survived that terrible situation. How
Yeah.
long before you were back into in the US?
It took 5 months. But in the meantime, I spent a week in a hospital. When I got back to, I came over the border illegally at that time because I was so sick that the doctor in Mexico City said, I don't think they'll let her back into the United States. So we dropped off, I think it was in Juarez, and then we walked, looked like we were tourists. And so I got a big hat so you couldn't see. I had a temperature of 103. And I walked over the border barely. And then I went to the hospital for a week in San Antonio, Texas.
Wow.
So it was a rough journey, but I learned a lot. And I think one thing we do not tell children is that the problems that you run up against, the challenges you run up against, are opportunities to learn and grow.
You bet. I totally agree. Yes.
And that's part of the message of the book.
That is wonderful. And again, what a story. It's amazing. I'm kind of almost speechless and listening that you went through that and all the things that you're doing now. When does the book come out? Do you know?
I think probably around the middle to the end of May.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, and it'll be on Amazon. It'll be on all of the major outlets for books, and so I will keep you posted. I will let you know.
Yeah, please do so. We'd like to get the word out on that also, and through our publication and also through our social media sites, especially in connection with the interview. The newsletter that I got, I thought it was outstanding also. Obviously, part of the organization Save Kids Now National Network. I'm assuming it's a newsletter that you send out periodically. How often do you send that out?
Once a month.
Once a month, okay.
It has
Make sure I
lots
keep getting it, please.
Oh,
And
okay,
I will
yes.
help you spread it out here through other, our focus with what we do here is helping in a positive manner as best as we can with the continuing growth of the Hispanic and multicultural communities from Northwest Florida and Southern Alabama. And so everything that we try to do is on the positive side of things. Here's the good stuff. Here's the opportunities. Here's what we can connect you to. Our publication, our social media sites, everything, we don't delve on the negative. The negative is there, we know that, but
Right.
that's for us to have as an example of what not to do or where not to go, because we know the realities of life. But we interviews and things that we do are all about the positive, great things that can be done.
Absolutely.
Mitigate
That's great.
those negative things that are occurring in our nation, because we know that things are occurring, and we know that it's getting worse. And
I have a thought that maybe this might be helpful
Mhm.
to your listeners, but I met a young man, his name was AJ Jelani in Richmond, California. And AJ noticed that in his high crime neighborhood that he had about 30 children, and most of them didn't have fathers. Fathers are
Unfortunate
very
situation.
important. He
Totally.
adopted these kids, just being the listener, being the guy that knew all the kids on the block. He started Christmas on the streets for the kids, and
Love
he dressed up as Santa Claus. The neighbors made a sleigh and took pictures of the kids. Everybody brought food, and during the summer they had potlucks on the street, closed it off, had police come, and so they could meet the police officer on the block. And do you know now today, and that he did that for about 25, 30 years. And the young people that were kids then have come back to AJ and thanked him for keeping them out of the gangs.
You know,
That's one man.
that's right, and I can attest to that from personal experience. The same exact thing. You're describing my friend Ramon Gonzalez, even though it's not the same person. Okay,
Right.
Ramon Gonzalez in South Tucson, Arizona, one of the worst neighborhood areas in Tucson. In 1970, started the Christmas in the Barrio, Navidad en el Barrio. Unfortunately, my friend passed away 3 years ago as a result of COVID. But it would have been his 50th anniversary, the 50th anniversary of his Christmas miracle on 31st Street, which is eventually the Navidad en el Barrio. You're describing the exact same thing that your friend did, except he did it on a more direct basis, because obviously he kind of took up these 30 kids, right? Well,
Yeah.
Ramon created this little event at his house because of those kids that he saw that didn't have anything, and they needed some type of a person, a man, to show them,
Right.
how to, what a man can show in a marriage, I suppose, what I'm saying. We all have our own different things that we can show our kids. The mom shows them certain things, the dad shows them others,
Right.
and together we show them others too. So yes, he did that for 50 years, and because, just like you're saying, he would tell me miraculous stories of how kids who he served 20, 15, 18 years ago were the saviors of his party many years later.
Yeah.
In an example of one, because Ramon was always telling me, David, I don't have enough toys. Think about this, 10,000 kids show up at that party each year.
Yeah.
Okay? And he would tell me some miraculous stories of, some of them I thought were true miracles. Others were the miracle of what you did with that kid 15 years ago, 15 years later, coming to serve the fiesta, for example, where a kid, one example he gave me was he was struggling to find toys and whatever, and the media was helping him with that. And some young man, 16 years old, who had been to the party before, donated $5,000 from his savings account to the party. Similar in nature to what you're saying with your friend. Amazing what you can do when you teach a kid how to serve or how to be a good person.
And those are such inspirational stories about guys, because these kids need men. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
We have an awful lot of single moms
homes, yes,
out there, and they can't do it all.
No, they're doing great. They're doing great for their kids, but they cannot do it all. That's right.
And I worked with Mother Wright, who fed the homeless in Oakland, California. I worked with her for 4.5 years. She was a mother of 12 children, and the father was out of the home. Can you imagine? And she finally, her brother came, and they lived in the garage. And she was so proud of those kids, because she said, I never had one child in trouble of these 12 children, not one kid ever got into trouble. And I said, how did you do that, Mother Wright? And she said, well, I ruled with an iron fist. She was a strong mama, but she also had the support of her brother and the extended family.
You bet. And discipline is so important. Rule with with an iron fist approach. You don't have to abuse the child.
No, you don't.
Show discipline, and expect behavior to be done correctly. You teach them young, and they learn those things. They learn to be disciplined. They learn to behave, and all those things that are common things that all of us should know.
Absolutely.
All of us not all of us get to learn them from that parent or that mom or that uncle,
Right.
Oh, we could talk all day.
I know we could.
I want to thank you, though. I do want to thank you, and I would love to have you back when your book comes out, and also help you promote your book in any way we can through our products. But it's been an honor to talk to you about this wonderful things that you do, and all the hard work that I know you have put in for many, many years, along with your supporters, and I'm sure your family also.
It's been a labor of love, because we have so much love out there that we need to give to our children.
Completely, 1,000% agree with you, Stephanie Mann.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Dave.
you very much. God bless you, and keep it going. And let's stay in touch, please.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today in this beautiful segment that is called Reflection, Mindset, and Growth. My name is Chris Lee, and I am just so very excited to share with you guys things that I've learned throughout my experiences and throughout my life as well. One of the things that I have learned while I've been on this beautiful earth is that life is ever changing, life is ever evolving, it is always moving, and it's never constant, just like we are, just like our minds are, just like our bodies are. It always changes. And so I wanted to share with you some insight about life. And this segment is gonna be amazing because we're gonna reflect, we're gonna change this up here, and we're gonna grow. So keep on joining us, keep on coming in, and comment and like our videos if you enjoy this and if it helps you in any kind of way. So like I said, life is ever changing, ever evolving, but how do we face those challenges? How do we face the things that come at us? How do we reflect on the good? How do we reflect on the bad? So in order for us to do that, it is my firm belief that we must get to know ourselves, get to know who we are, in order to be able to help others. And life is not just about you. Life is not about me. Life is about a beautiful journey that we enjoy with so many other people through relationships, whatever relationship that might be, correct? So, but in order to fill somebody's cup, in order to pour into people, we must understand who we are. We must fill ourselves so that we can be ever overflowing in helping others and loving others. So my questions for you today are, why do you think the way you think? Why do you believe the way you think? Why do you love the way you do? Why do you care the way you care? Why do you dislike the things that you dislike? Life is about loving others and, again, just enjoying a journey, but we must understand ourselves in order to enjoy the journey with other people and to care about others. So again, ask yourself these questions, and I hope to see you all next time. Do give it a like if you enjoyed these videos, and let's keep doing it together. Let's keep growing together, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you.
Estamos de vuelta. Bienvenidos otra vez a Making Connections. Mucha gente nos dice, Kismet, que aquí en esta región no hay nada que hacer. ¿Qué opinas al respecto?
Mira, estas secciones que nosotros realizamos, ¿verdad? Y lo que yo realizo en la región, en el Golfo, porque yo me muevo, ¿verdad? Desde New Orleans hasta la Florida, reportando y llevando lo que sí en realidad pasa en la región, porque es que la gente dice que aquí no hay nada, que aquí no se hace nada, amigo.
Hombre, Dios mío, sí hay tantas cosas que hacer que uno no puede estar en todos lados. Desde Tallahassee, donde estamos ahí con nuestros periódicos y todas las cosas que hacemos, hasta para acá, Mobile, Alabama, donde tú estás, hay un montón de cosas. Precisamente vamos a tener un video. We're going to have the video of your interview that you did in Tallahassee recently. We'll show that video interview of the event that you attended. Pero allá en Mobile hay unos eventos también muy chéveres. Cuéntanos un poquito acerca de ese de arte o no sé qué me cuentas
Ay,
tú siempre.
me encanta. Mira, en cada downtown, por lo menos en Pensacola, hay un viernes del mes que realizan esta misma actividad como nosotros realizamos aquí en el downtown de Mobile, Alabama, gracias a City of Mobile Park and Recreation, que realiza diferentes actividades como el Art Fest el segundo viernes de cada mes. Y desde las 5 de la tarde allí hay diferentes vendors y ahora han integrado que pueden participar completamente gratis las diferentes identidades sin fines de lucro como Hispanic Community Services, y podemos ir allí y orientar a la comunidad de los diferentes proyectos y diferentes clases o actividades que nosotros como identidad sin fin de lucro realizamos, además de los vendors, los artes, los artesanos, abren todas las galerías, el Museo de Arte Contemporánea allí con nuestra amiga Pame.
Sí, con nuestra amiga Pame, un saludo para Pame Ceballos, la curadora allí del contemporáneo.
Y hay diferentes cosas que tú puedes realizar. Mira qué lindo ir con tu familia y bajar para allá, para el downtown, y participar de todas estas actividades. Por lo menos cada mes tiene un tema diferente. Y en este mes de abril el tema fue las galletas. Así que en el parque, en la Cathedral Square, ¿verdad? Allí colocan diferentes actividades. En diciembre eran los globos y hacen diferentes figuras con globos identificadas a la Navidad. En esta ocasión eran diferentes figuras con galletas. Así que...
¡Wow! Excelente. Sí, como tú dijiste también, acá en Pensacola, sí, como tú dijiste también, acá en Pensacola tienes lo que se llama el Gallery Night. No estoy seguro que cada viernes lo hacen, pero obviamente pueden entrar a la página de internet de Pensacola y se fijarán, o en Facebook, obviamente. Gallery Night es algo bien popular aquí en el centro de la de Pensacola. Yo vivo en Navarre, como tú sabes, y también acá en Fort Walton Beach, que hacemos muchas de las cosas que nosotros nos interesamos. También tienen sus Gallery Nights y paseando ahí por el downtown, el parque The Landing, donde tuvimos el festival. Y todas esas áreas son muy bonitas, son áreas tranquilas, pero al mismo tiempo alegres, porque pues tienen diferentes actividades, ¿no?
Así que pues mira, quédate conectado aquí a Making Connection para que tú veas qué es lo que está pasando en tu región.
Y aquí tienen los eventos venideros en los próximos mes y medio más o menos, para que sepas que sí hay que hacer.
Monster Jam, brought to you by BKT Tires. Tickets on sale now.
Buenas, saludos, soy Kismen Meléndez y estoy aquí en Connection en las calles. ¿Y con quién estamos? Ellos mismos se van a presentar. Hola, ¿cómo estamos?
Hola, ¿cómo estamos? Roberto Pablo Córdoba de Latin Soul en Tallahassee.
Bueno, yo soy la esposa, pero también cantante del grupo de Latin Soul. ¿Se nota Latin Soul acá?
Sí, lo puse para que lo vieran, para que lo tengan en la mente.
Eso, me encantó. Mira, ayer fui invitada a su 12 aniversario y eso fue todo un éxito.
Celebramos muy feliz, gracias desde acá, mandarles un fuerte abrazo a cada uno de ustedes que nos acompañaron anoche. Fue un éxito total. Bailamos salsa, cumbia, merengue, bachata y más. Tuvimos DJs, tuvimos bailarines. excelente. Celebramos los 12 años de trayectoria del grupo Latin Soul. Mi esposo, ¿qué puede decir de Latin Soul?
Sí, 12 años, pues nuestro grupo es de 10 miembros anoche y le queremos agradecer a toda la gente que fue a nuestro evento, otro Full House. Hemos tenido muchos eventos muy exitosos en estas áreas y pues le agradecemos de corazón a todo el mundo que nos apoya. Nos pueden chequear, ¿no? Buena oportunidad para decir que nos pueden chequear en Latin Soul Band, en Facebook y también en Latin Soul Orchestra en Instagram. Y verás el logo y ahí está.
Me encanta. Mira, y también, ¿con qué otros artistas ustedes han colaborado? ¿Puedes tomar el micrófono?
Pues sí, hemos tenido, en 12 años, pues hemos tenido mucha oportunidad para tocar y tocar con artistas muy grandes. Tito Puente Jr. es uno de los más grandes que tocamos con el Pensacola hace varios años, y también con Omi Cardona de Puerto Rico, un sonero puertorriqueño muy bueno, muy buena gente, tremendo artista y también tremendo percusionista, y también ex cantante de Enclave, Ricky Luis. Eso ha sido uno de los buenos logros que hemos tenido encima de todas las muchas presentaciones que hemos tenido en 12 años.
Mira, y dile a la gente de dónde tú eres, de dónde.
Mira, yo soy boricua de pura cepa como tú.
Eso, de la isla del encanto. ¿Y de dónde es tu esposa? Cuéntanos.
Dos boricuas acá. Yo soy de Perú, para que tú sepas también, Chiclayana del Norte, donde se come riquísimo. Y acá estoy ya acompañando 5 años.
Sí, pero no tienen mofongo allá.
Pero tenemos lomo saltado, ceviche, papa la huancaína. No, hombre, no acabamos hoy día si comenzamos a hablar.
Ella también cocina. Cuéntale a la gente dónde es que te consiguen.
Ay.
¿Probar todas esas delicias de Perú?
Por supuesto que sí. Bueno, me pueden seguir como Yvonne's Peruvian Cuisine. Soy chef. Amo la comida, amo comer, y mi esposo es el más feliz porque en casa se come rico, pura comida peruana, señores. Y mis suegros también, ellos felices cuando nos visitan. Y tienes que venir a casa para que tú pruebes.
Claro.
Te hago mira, no nos peleemos ni Perú ni Puerto Rico, yo te hago un mofongo con lomo saltado.
Eso me gusta, mira, eso sería una buena combinación. Y después con una salsita o un merengue.
Y una cumbia.
O una cumbia como la que bailamos anoche. Así que si tú quieres contagiarte de esa energía y de esa que solo te lo da ¿quién? ¿Solo te lo da quién?
Latin Soul, siempre en tu corazón.
Qué bella, siempre en tu corazón. Así que síguenos en Facebook para contrataciones. Y mira, por ahí vienen las fiestas nos sacaban en los festivales y todo eso, ¿no?
Se viene 5 de mayo y todo eso. Roberto, puedes dar tu teléfono, eso sí, solo para contratos.
Voy a dar el teléfono, pero para contrataciones, 770-312-8716. 770-312-8716.
Pues mira, muchas gracias, ¿verdad?
Sí,
gracias por la oportunidad de ir a bailar en ese 12 aniversario y que sean muchos aniversarios más, ¿ok? Así que nos vamos despidiendo y le decimos a la gente, contáctalo y síguelo en Facebook si quieres comer rico y si quieres, mira, bailar rico también. Que aquí Kismet Meléndez para Connection en las calles, así que nos vemos pronto y seguimos en qué es lo que está pasando, qué pasa en Tallahassee. Aquí es que estoy. Cuídense mucho, Dios los bendiga.
Ayudarnos a decir juntos.
¿Cómo?
Latin Soul, siempre en tu corazón.
Pues nos fuimos a la cuenta de 3, a la 1, a las 2 y las 3. Latin Soul, siempre en tu corazón. Así es que, bye.
El más lindo y el mejor. De la costilla de Adán, oiga, hizo Dios a la mujer y le regaló a los hombres un huesito para roer. Qué sabroso es tener frío y arrimarse a una mujer. Qué buena es la sinvergüenza cuando se deja querer. Que fue, cuando se deja querer. Que fue, cuando se deja querer. Que fue, el más lindo y el mejor. De la costilla de Adán, oiga, hizo Dios a la mujer y le regaló a los.
Well, as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end, and we have come to the end of this great show, Making Connections. Wow, what an interview with Stephanie Mann. She is doing some great things throughout the United States, very involved in issues of safety for the children and neighborhoods and for cities. What a wonderful experience in talking to her. We hope all of you have enjoyed the show. We hope that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Conexión YouTube channel. That is how we get this show out to you. And then obviously we also share it through Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And we want to make sure that it goes out. So whenever you see this show, watch it, like it, subscribe it on Facebook, and then share it with your friends. We are trying to grow here in the Northwest Florida area and Southern Alabama area with Latino content, Latino things, bilingual things. So support anything and everything that's out there. Cualquier cosa que sea que usted vea que sea latina, empújela si está buena, si es buena. Si no es buena, no la empuje. No importa que sean periódicos, revistas, de quien sea, no importa. Empújela. Una entrevista, un show, un programa de radio, Telemundo, cuando venga Telemundo, apóyenlo, porque es la única manera que vamos a seguir creciendo en esta región, que como sabemos no es latina todavía. Pronto, pronto será y será más. ¿Qué opinas al respecto ahí, mi amiga? Vamos a cerrar aquí.
Bueno, número uno, gracias a todas las personas que están viendo este programa y como decía David, suscríbete a este canal, danos like a todas estas videos y estas iniciativas que estamos realizando, compártelo con tu amigo, con tu compañero, pasa la voz, ponlo en tu perfil y apoya iniciativas como esta en la telecomunicación para poder llevarte a ti, amigo, amiga que me escucha, familia, emprendedor, industria, mira, todo lo que está pasando en nuestro Golfo, en nuestra región con nuestros hispanos. Así que, ¿qué podemos decir? Vamos por la televisión, vamos por Telemundo, papi. Vamos para la estación de radio gracias a 93.4.
94.3, 94.3.
94.3 allá en Fort Walton, que me encantó.
Hola Panhandle, se llama el show.
Eso, me encantó. Así que apoya todas estas comunicaciones que nos estamos conectando todos. Y si tú en tu región, en tu comunidad, tienes algo que quieras destacar, no dudes en escribirnos, en comunicarte con nosotros y también me puedes contactar como Kismet Meléndez en Facebook, en Instagram, en TikTok, en YouTube Channel y en Connection Media Group. Así que donde tú veas el periodiquito por acá, por donde tú veas el periodiquito, agarra ese periódico que tiene mucha información para ti, bilingüe, ¿ok? Si tú tienes un libro que se ha destacado, también que estamos destacando los latinos, así que no te quedes atrás.
Así es. Queremos aumentar, obviamente, nuestro contenido también, pero lo vamos a mantener con entrevistas primariamente porque queremos darle la oportunidad, ya sea a latinos o no latinos, que están haciendo buenas cosas para la comunidad, para el mundo, para la ciudad, cosas que benefician a otros por buen corazón, caridad, todo ese tipo de apoyo a la comunidad es importante porque pues mientras nuestros hijos o nuestras familias estén felices y contentas y tengan éxito, pues la comunidad va a tener éxito, definitivamente.
Definitivamente, porque ese es el gol y el enfoque. Si tu familia, si tú te educas a tus hijos con valores, con los frutos del espíritu, ¿verdad? Y educas a tu familia, a tus niños, eso es de generación en generación. Yes. Así que destaca lo que tú eres. Tú tienes múltiples talentos que están dentro de ti. Así que yo le digo a la gente, ¿dónde está ella? ¿Cómo tú lo haces? Mira, tú puedes hacer lo mismo que nosotros estamos realizando. Busca los talentos que están dentro de ti y destaca esa cualidad, esas personas que están emprendiendo allá afuera. Ven para acá si tienes una idea, si quieres ser parte de nosotros y hablarnos de tu comunidad, qué está pasando en tu región. Bienvenido, bienvenido. Así que, ¿qué podemos decir? Que venga para acá, para Making Connection Show y esté pegado.
Así es. Y busquen unión y colaboración, porque uno no lo puede hacer todo. Sin Kismet no podemos hacer cosas que podemos hacer en Mobile y otros sitios porque ella viaja por todos lados. Y hay otras personas también que están colaborando con nosotros en todo lo que hacemos con Conexión Media Group. Y aquí en Making Connections también estamos incrementando el equipo para darles a ustedes mucho más de lo que por ahora podemos hacer. Pero el futuro es bueno con el favor de Dios primario, podemos hacer muchas cosas. Y así estamos tratando de hacerlo, pero poco a poquito, en incrementos, para hacerlo bien.
En la unión está la fuerza y eso es un lema que yo le digo a todo el mundo y destaco ante la comunicación de nuestra comunidad. Unidos, amigos, unidos somos más fuertes. Así que busca el norte número 1 que es Dios. Únete, ayuda a tu prójimo con amor, con humanidad y tú vas a ver cómo las puertas se abren y el universo te brilla. ¡Que trae la paz!
Así es. Muchísimas gracias, Kismet. Again, thank you everyone for watching Making Connections interview show, and we will see you next time. Hasta la próxima.
See you next time.
Hi, I'm Jason Arnold with the Ride On Commuter Services Program, and we're here to help you get started with a bike commute. Ride On is a quick and secure way to find your best commuting options. Using your home and work addresses, you can connect with neighbors and colleagues who bike, carpool, vanpool, or take the bus. Are you an experienced cyclist who knows the best routes through the city? Need help learning the ins and outs of bicycle commuting? Whatever your situation, connecting with fellow cyclists can help get you cycling to work, school, or wherever you're heading. We all know there are many benefits to cycling, like you're unlikely to get stuck in traffic so you won't be late. Cycling is good for your health and well-being, and it's fun. It's cheaper than driving, paying for parking charges, or catching the bus or train. It's fast and efficient, especially during the morning and evening rush hours. It's good for the environment. Pedal power is the cleanest form of energy. And it's a great stress reliever. Getting outdoors and exercising is proven to improve stress levels. The Ride On team can provide personalized one-on-one support services by experienced transportation professionals who can help you learn to ride safely. The Ride On program is simple. It matches you with other cyclists or commuters in your area. You can start sharing rides to work, school, or a local event. Build your profile online at www.rideontogether.org or download the Ride On Together app from your Android or Apple device. Registering for Ride On is free, and you could get Ride On swag for your commute. The best part, commuters who bike to work at least 3 times a week also qualify for the Emergency Ride Home program. This program gives you a voucher for a free ride home in bad weather or other emergencies. Whether you bike for the environment, your health, or to save money, Ride On can help you reach your commuting goals.